What's going on, guys? Back with another video. So Kevin O'Leary was on Fox and he just absolutely ripped into Mark Carney and Justin Trudeau in the process and called him a nickname that I don't think I've ever heard before, but I really like it. So we're going to have a look at this. But before we get into it, please don't forget to like and subscribe, as it really does help grow the channel. And I appreciate you guys so much for doing that for me. So let's have a look at this, then we'll talk about it.
Ending trade negotiations with Canada.
He says he's terminating the talks over a tax on technology firms like Meta and Amazon.
Stupid.
They put a tax on companies that were American companies that they shouldn't, a very severe tax. I guess they could remove it. They will, but I don't really, it doesn't matter to me. We have all the cards. It's not going to work out well for Canada. They were foolish to do it. And so I said, we're going to stop all negotiations with Canada right now until they straighten out their act.
Let's bring in Kevin O'Leary, a Canadian and chairman of O'Leary Ventures. Man, I love this dude so much because he's smart, he's funny, and he's pithy. And I don't mind just saying it. This is, I don't know, we kind of knew this was going to happen, but I don't think it's going to go anywhere. Is this a tempest in a teapot?
You know, this policy actually was introduced by the previous administration in Canada, the idiot king, Justin Trudeau. It was bad policy then, and it's bad policy now.
See, that's perfect.
But
there's no other way to explain Justin Trudeau than that. The idiot king. It sounds kind of corny when you first hear it, but then it's like, well, it fits so well. Who's dumber than that guy? Can you name someone? Let me know in the comments.
The new prime minister, that Trudeau was thrown out after he impoverished 25% of the Canadian population, wiped out GDP, buried the country in debt because of one policy called Bill C-69, which doesn't allow development of any energy, anything at all. It's a no pipeline bill. So revenues collapsed in Canada during his 10-year reign. And now Carney has no income. There's no growth in income at all. So he's trying to find any way he can to make income. This is worth $7 billion to the Canadian economy. But obviously, it's not going to work out the way he planned. Now, he may be just testing it, but he doesn't have a lot of options because Canada's economy has been wiped out by the idiot king, and he's got to fix it. And so at the end of the day, this is just another aspect of the negotiation. But I will add one thing. The original vision of this, way back 7 months ago, was why don't we somehow combine these two economies, not sell the country, but Canada has all the raw resources, the unlimited nat gas, unlimited oil, unlimited rare earth, unlimited minerals, and the U.S. is the largest market. Yeah. So what are we, all idiots? Why do we have tariffs in either direction? There should be no tariffs.
I actually agree with him completely on that. We don't have to be the 51st state. We don't have to become America, but let's just get rid of the tariffs on both sides. I don't understand that. I am not an economy expert or an economic expert at all, but I mean, Kevin O'Leary seems to be pretty good at it. He knows what he's talking about. Why would we charge all these extra tariffs? Tariffs on dairy, tariffs on aluminum, steel. Why? Just get rid of it all and just share our economy. Doesn't that make sense? Now, I'm sure some of you in the comment section will be, maybe you're an economic major, you went to university for it, I don't know. But let me know in the comment section, why is that a bad idea to just remove all the tariffs? I don't understand that.
Tariffs whatsoever. We should bulk up and then fight off the Chinese.
My favorite thing that's happened out of Canada recently was when the No Kings protests spread to Canada, and then Canada remembered that they have a monarchy, so they had to change it to the No Tyrants holiday. But, obviously the Trump administration, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent also has called out the new tax on digital services that Canada is going to levy on U.S. companies. Watch this.
Canada has this digital services tax, and several other countries do too. We disagree, and we think that they discriminate against U.S. companies. This was something from the Trudeau years, so we were hoping as a sign of goodwill that the new Carney administration would at least put a break on that during the trade talks. They seem not to have.
Real quick, how does that end?
Well, Carney's pragmatic. There's no question about that. He obviously tested the waters with this. He got a very vicious reaction from Trump. And now he's probably thinking it through the weekend, deciding what to do next, because he definitely wants to get a trade deal done and start to normalize.
I don't know. Do you agree with Kevin on that? I'm not so sure. I don't know if Carney does want to get a deal done. It seems like he doesn't. I mean, again, not an expert on this, but it just seems like, his campaign promise was like, we're going to be tough, elbows up. The relationship that we have with the United States as we know it is over. I don't know what that means. But I don't know. He's had a while to get negotiations, and then putting on this extra tax, which he knew was going to piss Trump off. I don't understand why he would have done that if he actually wants to get a deal done. Now, Kevin O'Leary did say he's pragmatic. Okay, maybe he is. And maybe on Monday he's going to come back and say, okay, it's dropped. Sorry about that. We just wanted to see what would happen. But I don't know. That just seems like why would you piss off a guy that's easy to piss off? You know what I mean? Especially a guy who's as wild and unpredictable as Trump is. I don't really see that as a good move.
The relationships between Canada and the U.S. It's in both sides' benefit. But if this is going to be the sticking point, it's not worth fighting for this, because it is a tariff on tech companies the same way Europe did it. And the majority of tech that's used in Canada comes from the U.S. It always has. And so I don't think this is a winning strategy for Carney. But as I say, there's a lot of optimism around him because he is not the idiot king. He's a lot more pragmatic.
Well, let's see if he is. We definitely have a new president, so that might help in the negotiations as well, because he's good at that art of a deal. Let's look at this, because in New York City, developers are freaking out over Membani's sudden rise. They're worried that he might...
It looks like they're moving on to the another topic there, but that's interesting to me. I mean, Kevin O'Leary thinks that Mark Carney wants to get a deal. He might want to get a deal. I just don't know. Mark Carney's kind of a hard guy to predict a little bit, other than the fact that it seems like he doesn't have any interest in actually restoring anything in Canada. Now, again, people say, oh, he said this and he said that. Well, I want to see action. And what are the Liberal government doing right now? Taking a 12-week vacation. Pierre Poilievre and the Conservatives all said that they were not going to take any vacation. They were going to work through the summer to make sure things that are important get done first before they take a break. And I'd imagine a trade deal would have been first on their list. I would imagine if Pierre Poilievre was in office, we probably would have either been really close to having a deal right now, or we'd have one. That's just my estimate. Obviously, we don't know. But it seems like the Conservatives really wanted to start attacking the problems that we have in Canada, and the Liberals, after campaigning on the fact that this is the most consequential election in the lifetime, seem to want to go to work for 3 weeks and then take a vacation. It seems like everything they said during their election campaign was just bullshit. But I guess we'll have to see. I don't know. This is going to be a very interesting summer, to say the least. I mean, I don't really know what else to say other than that. But either way, let me know what you guys think in the comment sections. Please don't be shy. And please, once again, do not forget to like and subscribe. It really helps grow the channel. Thanks so much for watching. I'll be back shortly with a new one.